19. If stopping war is straightforward new law, then why are my speeches 25 hours long? Because I'm an amateur obsessed with stories I believe instructive. So here are short histories pointing to my themes. War is weapons, reduce them for less war, and warriors often head national governments in great need of international trade. So strong enough world embargo might help restrain scorched earth dictator invaders. Finally, international military defense of invasion victims will remain necessary until achieving the world disarmament ideal. On the war is weapons theme, 10 millennia's billion war slaughtered all died courtesy of zero laws against army size, weapon kind, and quantity, correct? Close to 1/3 of that total perished since 1915 as weapons technology exploded lethality and quantity, while economic booms and leaders' kill passions paid weapons factories vast multiples of money. We're right to promote all laws and education against hate and its armed expression. Today, the world's worst wars are in Ukraine, Sudan, Gaza, and Yemen. Each feature hateful attacks by leaders and governments firmly in power. Before we someday prevent such aggressors from gaining national leadership, today work to choke off their endless flow of foreign attack bombs, bombers, and missiles, plus invasion artillery. More years will be needed to negotiate down and gone million-man armies and nuclear extinction arsenals. His story's tragedy is that single dictators for entire careers enforce their military power to harm, enslave, and kill anyone to everyone. Their power of evil, sadistic infliction of mass suffering to inflate their pleasure of power, feelings of greatness, and hateful punishment and destruction of inferiors is the power that kills or ruins billions. I believe that you and I can redesign our entire human world to topple national dictators. Though this will be tough and take many years, and we must simultaneously deprive would-be future despots all rungs of corrupt military ladders of ascension. Navalny for many years roused tens of millions of Russians to oppose Putin's wars, his theft of national treasure, and crushing of human rights in and beyond Russia. The dictator, however, only grew stronger and built an extrajudicial military police force to jail every dissenter for merely waving a protest sign. Today, hundreds have been set upon by thugs and thrown in vans for their crimes of merely laying flowers down on a street for their murdered friend Alexei Navalny. 20,000 Russian conscripts were sent to their deaths this winter just to capture a single Ukrainian town. Putin will likely successfully continue his national and international abuse for years to come, as will other massively militarized despots. But most countries have enough democratic people power to become fertile ground for our essentially anti-dictatorship, pro-peace, pro-democracy reforms. You'll notice that my speech's every story describes a supreme fuse capture of billions for tragic results, accomplished with corrupt military, financial, and political opportunities strategically designed by the 10,000-year, world-crushing, self-inflating despots club. We are going to communicate with every oppressed group on earth. Billions could immediately begin seizing human power. But another couple of billion could only now think, talk, and wait, because all powerful rulers today have them by the short and curlies. Today, single, evil with power men rule the world. Someday you and I will dethrone everyone if we get to and stay at work. 95% of people ask their governments to make their lives better. Roads and public transportation, water and power delivery, schools, retirement programs, major medical care help, economy and business regulation, consumer protection, and national defense made far easier by making friends, not enemies, wherever possible. Oh yeah, and don't rob us blind. 5%, however, fasten greedy eyes on the big chunk of private income confiscated by government that would nicely elevate everyone's lives, only if parasites and thieves didn't steal it first. Businessmen look to explode their company's size and profits with government contracts for weapons, construction projects, and many other products. In most nations, legislators are bribed, firstly, to make such bribery legal campaign contributions, and next, to spring a myriad government cash and regulation awards generally harmful to the wider public, completing their hijacking of public servants to make legislators deliver our money and safety to their cronies. In return for cash enough to buy media lies, re-electing over 90%. Most all public servants 100% convert to private masters. Chain reaction disasters ever follow. Now and forever, we mostly get public government aspirants from the bottom feeder fortune hunter's barrel. The weapons contracts alone explode world war. Legislators borrow the government towards insolvency. Regulation of business misbehavior descends towards encouraging it. Would you like to overcharge the taxpayer for shoddy products? Just bribe for the 60% appropriation vote. Do you plan to inflate medical costs 10% every year? Except half of legislators now promote public, not private interest regulation to hold down costs and someday guarantee public medical care for all. No problem, just select and bribe opponents to defeat most at the next election, and reward all incumbents with equally winning cash for the quid pro quo, legislator, regulator, business love, public abandonment. Forests and lakes dying. Businesses actually profiting from pollution or other destruction can pay every lawmaker to make it happen faster. Want to sell more guns than the whole population? Not just to warring armies, but any 18-year-old? Pay lawmakers to outlaw all gun regulation and control. Drug cartels need not be subtle. Lawmakers and cops already on the take from legal sources will seldom turn down suitcases of cash to ignore narco expansion out around the world. Now, how often do you think all such flies on shit, parasites on taxes, in particular the captured legislators, will work on and budget the group of peace and survival laws and projects that 21st century humanity soon dies without? Never, Trevor. So here's what you do. Work to ban every private nickel handed to public servants or office candidates. Consult everywhere for the laws and projects to save us. Hammer people to hammer Pauls to deliver. Boost candidates to bounce them if they don't. Internet with 195 nations, terrified citizens for treaty work to get it done everywhere. Then slam your fully negotiated international laws through your own damn governments. I started this speech reviewing 10 millennia of world rape by single monsters who still own us today for the hyperspeed end of the world. Well, not so fast, punks. In our first minutes, you and I are plotting 8 billion lovers and heroes humanity takeover. No longer rocket science, war dictator, private business thieving, public government tyranny. We'll lead with the humanity, democracy, and international laws that all die fast without your full actions for super rescue government. Once public leaders become convinced that a public movement is steadily removing their opportunities for private theft, war, and business rape of their own damn customers, they would ask us, how the hell else can we win elections and have nice careers? You tell them. By using your incumbency or challenge candidacy to electrify your electorate with family-loving and saving new government. Use your special knowledge to work with and teach us. Quite like our democratic duties are finally being exercised to teach and work with you guys. And all of us succeed how? Much better law for peace, water, and food. Then what happens? 100 million jackals get retired to used car lots or any other business opportunities they find after we stop their government robbery. And 100 million glorious, caring, loving new leaders take over. And just in time to stop the starvation, depression, thirst, and 9,000 mushroom clouds all frickin' minutes ahead. The weaponeer bribery I demand an end to has always exploded army size, ruination radius, and lethality, plus the grand ambitions of every commander-in-chief. Most constitutions patterned on the American original also assign to people's representatives the right to declare or not declare wars. Executives not allowed to choose and start wars, only to command troops paid and armed by us against enemies almost always attacking first. Now explain the thousands of solely launched, undeclared wars by invader presidents, and the thousands more directly fueled by nations' weapons merchants, also with zero people's congressional declarations. And the 9,000 nukes deliberately planned launch in seconds with no people's choice or authorization of 1,000% certain world destruction. Okay, I will. Deliberate rape of our every constitution. Crime sanctioned and encouraged by the 8 billion targets who sleep through every perp's violation. Wake up and sue, baby! You'll lose a few, then win the rest, I promise. Until then, we all just buy their every lying excuse. Prez says, my weaponeer bribed lawmakers voted for my carte blanche attack on a world of my terrorist enemies. Minus any legal constitutional declaration they'd lose their next election over. Since 100% of attack wars for profit create nothing but tragedy, foreign and domestic. My speeches recount the giant lies. Iraq's building nukes. North Vietnam attacked our patrol boats. That justify decades of murdering millions without constitutional declarations, of course. PR strategy must hide the sordid truth. Attack wars are 100% power, aggression, imperial egomania, profit, and hate. And war's most direct physical cause? Every great arsenal ever built was used. Built for what? Money, honey. Yours. Taxes stolen by clowns you keep electing. Your money, your ruined future, your own and family's suffering and early deaths. So end the private campaign cash bribery for weapons contracts and slash the arsenals and armies to border defenses only via your world treaty work from 1 billion citizens' international collaboration to final legislator ratification. Then, unlike past, weak, abrogated treaties, followed by full enforcement via specific, empowered tenets. Without those giant armies and weapons down to true national defense, guarding borders against equally modest patrols, 99.9% of lethal international attack ambition will vanish. The few remaining rabid warriors will have our full permission to go after each other with chokeholds and really sharp fingernails. My speeches all feature single scorched earth dictators from the first empire to the last American and Russian presidents holding 80 billion kill power in very temporary reserve while merely ruining most of humanity's prospects today. You and I get the disarmament movement rolling to convert every murder dollar to emergency water and food projects to keep us alive until those zillion factories suck the excess 40% CO2 out of our air to bring back our reigns of life. Not one of today's 49 wars could continue under our laws, nor the 50th, which is about to explode Ukraine's 60-nation conventional weapon-fueled war to launch the minute he starts losing big Vladimir Putin's entire nuclear arsenal. That emergency, as I've related, can only be averted by your immediate, desperate campaign today, long before we succeed in removing aggressors' dirty money and genocidal weapons' physical and legal opportunities. Stabilize Ukraine now. Then our billion busy friends will explode our lawful love bomb, hopefully faster than any and all stupid powers into the world. But it's gonna be hair trigger, cliffhanger close. So get a hurry on, babies!